here. It's assembly number 15 and it's the week beginning the 9th of January 2023. Gosh, Mrs. Lee, I need to remember that we are in the year 2023. It's the first assembly of the spring term. The sun is out, but I'm still wearing my woolly jumper. Oh, can you see? I've also got my lanyard on. Do you remember the blue lanyards? That means that person's okay to be in school. But if they've got a red one on, we need to make sure that they're with another grown-up so that we know that they are a safe person in our school. What would happen if they didn't have a lanyard on? That's right, we would go and tell a grown-up that we know straight away. Let's start with our routine board. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Well, I can see that the long hand, which is the minute hand, is on the 12. And I know that means o'clock. I can see the shorthand is pointing towards the 10. The shorthand is the hour hand. So I know that that's right, it's 10 o'clock. Mrs. Turner has changed our language of the month. We're speaking Polish this month. We've done this one before. We've got lots of families in our school that hear and speak Polish at home. How do we say hello though? Cześć. You do it. Cześć. Brilliant. And just behind me, our Makaton sign. Don't know if you can see it from there, so I'm going to bring it closer to you. Here we go. If you can see that very well. The word says dreaming. And what you have to do is put your hands here towards your brain and then move them like this. You do it with me. Dreaming. You do it. Dreaming. Why is Mrs. Lee asking us to think about dreaming? Well, this week on the 13th, there is a national day. And that's where everybody around the United Kingdom might be thinking about dreaming, about our dreams. Now, dreams could be when you are asleep and you might make up like stories in your head, all these different dreams. I have some very strange ones sometimes. Sometimes I have ones that I can't remember. And sometimes I have ones that scare me a bit. How many of you have dreams? Lots of you. So Mrs. Lee sometimes has daydreams. Do you ever have a daydream? Sometimes I'm thinking, staring out the window, and I'm a bit like Reflective Rex, and I'm dreaming things that maybe could happen. Thinking about, wouldn't it be nice if we could have a trip out maybe? Or I'm dreaming about, wouldn't it be lovely if we could do, and maybe we could have a party or a disco or something. When I was little, like you, I used to dream a lot about what I wanted to be when I was a grown-up. And I used to think, maybe I'd like to become, I don't know, let's play a game. Let's see if we can guess all the different things that you could become by using some clues. Are you up for it? Okay, right, I've got this. It's called Guess Who. Okay, here we go. Now, in this game, I'm going to read you some clues, and then you've got to tell me the answer. All right? And we'll see if you're right. Okay, here we go. So this person makes people feel better. This person might have around their neck a stethoscope. This person works in a surgery or a hospital. Do you know? Let me see. Yep, you there? That's right. It's a doctor. Now you can have male and female doctors. Doctors that work in the local surgery where you might go if you've got a bit of a tickly throat, or doctors that work in the hospitals. Okay, ready for the next one? Here we go. How about this one? I love children. I work in a place with lots of classrooms, and I help people to learn. Who thinks they know? Oh yeah, you. That's right. It's a teacher. We've got lots of them in our school, haven't we? We're very, very lucky. Okay, last one. Here we go. I wear a protective suit. I drive a big red truck, and sometimes it can be very noisy. Ooh. And I save people. Any ideas? Yeah, you? Yeah, that's right. It's a firefighter. And again, like teachers, like people that work in the hospital, like doctors and nurses, anybody can dream and aspire to become one of those people. You can have that job. But you have to do something first. Oh, what is it? Oh, I'm going to have a little look over here. Oh yeah, our golden rules. Number 4. What is it? That's right. It's to, I did a Makaton sign as well, to work hard. To work hard. Can you try it for me? Work hard. So we can have these dreams. We can have lots of ideas about things that we would like to happen in our school or maybe when we grow up. But we need to sometimes work hard with them. Oh gosh, who's that Hartford hero that can help us? Because sometimes it's a bit of a challenge. Oh yeah, that's right. It could be that we are like Perseverance Parrot. Because we have to keep on going. We mustn't give up with our dreams. So on National Dream Day, which is on the 13th, maybe you would like to share with me. I'll put it outside my office, some bits of paper, and you can tell me what your dreams are. There's lots of different books that are about dreaming and having different ideas. There's this book, I love this book. It's by Nick Sharratt. It's called You Choose. There's lots of different versions of it now. There's one called You Imagine. There's also one called You Dream. And they're all about different choices that you can make. Maybe you might be dreaming of going on a holiday and you might be thinking about how you would like to get on your holiday. Maybe on a train, or maybe you're dreaming of going on a horse and cart, or maybe you're dreaming of going on an aeroplane. I don't know. I've also got another book. I also have another book called The Dreaming Tree here. And this book is set in Ireland, but it's about a boy that comes from a country called Brazil. Now, I don't know if you remember, but in the summer, before you became reception or before you became year 1 or before you came year 2, at our school we were talking about Brazil, weren't we? Now, this story is quite a long story, so I'm going to try and cut it down a little bit, but you need your good listening ears. So this story is about Roberto and Amanda, who were on their way home from school one day. And Roberto and Amanda, as I said, came from Brazil. Now, Roberto loved playing football, and all the boys were always playing football just by where they walked home. But Roberto didn't know how to go over and make friends with them. But he really loved playing football. Do you like playing something? Now, Roberto, as he walked along with his sisters, was a little bit grumpy, and he didn't notice that actually this boy here is smiling at him. If somebody's smiling at you and you don't know them very well, what could you do? Well, Roberto could have smiled back, but he was so lost in his dreams that he didn't notice that the boy was smiling at him. Anyway, when he got home, their mother was very excited because their grandmother was on the telephone all the way from Brazil. And they had this conversation. And grandmother was really sad because she noticed when she was talking to Roberto that he was feeling a little bit sad because he didn't have any friends at his new school. Now, his grandmother, who is over in Brazil, was thinking about him, and she said, "You've been in Ireland now for a long time. Have you made any friends?" And Roberto, he was honest, and he said, "No, haven't made any." "Oh dear," said grandmother. "Do you remember that story I told you a long time ago?" "What story?" said Roberto, because his grandmother told him a lot of stories. She said, "The one about the dreaming tree." "Oh, tell me again," said Roberto. So grandmother told him the story about going into the dreaming tree. In the dreaming tree, which was in the forest, there were lots and lots of different animals lying in there. I don't know if you can see in this picture. There are snakes. There's different types of parrots. What else has it got? Oh, it's got bats, got a tapir, a squirrel monkey, a caiman. All these different animals were in this tree. And if you climbed into the tree and fell asleep and started to, can you do that Makaton sign? Dream. You could dream about what your heart's desire was. When the little boy in the story went into the tree, he dreamt that he met a jaguar. A jaguar is a big black cat. Golly gosh. When grandmother had finished the story, Roberta said, do I have to go and find a tree and find a jaguar then? Is that what I've got to do? No, said grandmother, you just need to go and find a tree. So, later that day, Roberta went out. And he was a bit down in the dumps because it wasn't very nice weather. Where he came from in Brazil, it was always sun shining, hardly any rain. Whereas in Ireland, it was very, very rainy and hardly any sunshine. Off he went. Look, he's looking glum still, isn't he? Off he went back to the park. When he got to the park, he found a huge tree. He thought about what his grandmother had said, and he went up into the tree. He could hear the boys playing football far away. The sound didn't upset him. He felt as if he was a bird in a nest. The green leaves moved and the sunlight came out. And slowly, he went off to sleep. The branches swayed, the wind was rocking him backwards and forwards, and he could hear the water flowing. He started to dream all about the animals his grandmother had told him. And then he opened his eyes, and there peering at him was a jaguar. Oh, golly gosh. Roberto looked at its green slanted eyes. They were the same colour as the leaves around his black face. Jaguar opened his mouth in a huge yawn. Roberto could see his white teeth and his pink tongue. He could hardly breathe. And then the jaguar just stretched out. He was actually yawning. Jaguar said, "Hello, what do you want?" Roberto said, "I'm dreaming and I want a friend." Jaguar smiled. Then Roberto opened his eyes. Everything was a lot darker. The leaves were darker, the sky was darker. I thought, I must have just been dreaming. I must have been asleep. But he could still hear a purring sound. And he could see, what was that in the branches? A little black bundle. Oh no, it's quite a big bundle. A big black bundle of fluff with green eyes looking at him, with white teeth and a pink tongue. Oh, it wasn't a jaguar, no, but it was a very large, fat black cat. And it was curled up in the branches, and it was yawning as if it just woken up, and then it stretched out. Roberto could also hear voices down below. "Snowy, Snowy, come here, Snowy, come here. Psst, 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 psst. Come here, Snowy." It was the boy from earlier on. He looked a bit upset himself. It sounded like he was going to cry. "Come here, Puss, Puss, where's Puss? Where is Snowy?" said the boy. Roberto peered through the branches. He could see the boy down below, and he could also see the cat. Oh dear, Roberto looked at the cat, and the cat looked at Roberto. "Come here," he whispered to the cat. And do you know what? The cat came over to him, and she let him lift her up. Roberto scrambled down the tree. It was hard to keep a grip, but he managed it. When he got back down, he said, "Hi, is this your..." But before he could even say, "Is this your cat?" jumped out of his arms into the other boy's arms. The other boy was called Fergus. Roberta didn't know this. Fergus said, Thank you for saving my cat. She's about to have some babies." Roberta said, "Be careful you don't squeeze them out of her. You're really squeezing her tight." And Fergus said, "Oh, thank goodness you're back home, Snowy." Roberta said, "Why have you called your cat Snowy when your cat is black?" Fergus said, "Oh, it's a joke." And they started to laugh. And you see, Roberto is laughing and smiling at Fergus, and Fergus is holding him and smiling back. The next day, when Roberto walked back home with his sister through the park, his sister went off to play with her friend, and Fergus saw Roberto and waved, and this time Roberto smiled back. "Do you want to come and play football with us?" Fergus said, and Roberto said, "Yes, that's great. I'd love to come and play football with you." That was a nice story about a lovely dream. Sometimes you have to work on it, but sometimes the work could just be smiling, couldn't it? That's all Roberto needed to do, was to smile, be a little bit braver, and actually when somebody is smiling at you, smile back, and you make friends, don't you? Golly gosh, Mrs. Lee has talked for a lot, hasn't she? I hope that you're having a nice week. Last week, do you remember we were making our fruit kebabs and our soup and our flapjacks. I had a great time sniffing all those beautiful smells around school, and I certainly had a good time trying to beat Mrs. Hyam at making an egg omelette. But she won, didn't she? Oh well, these things happen. I hope you had good fun too. Right, we're going to finish off with our school prayer now, children. Now, remember, we close our eyes if we want to. We can put our hands together if we want to. But Mrs. Lee would like everybody to say the words. Ready? Help me to do the things I should, to be to others kind and good, in all my work and all my play, to grow more loving every day. Amen. Right. Very last thing, I'm going to show you a short video of all the things that are in our school for you to do. You can come down and get a reading centre stick. There are 5 of them. That means there can only be 5 people in the research centre at any one time. Now, we know that you can go into the research centre for a little bit of time. Maybe you do one colouring, maybe you read one book, maybe along the corridor you answer one of the questions that's on the board and use the pencil and the phonics mat to try and help you write your answer. Then you bring the stick back to Mrs. Lee's office so that somebody else can have a go. How many people should be in the research centre? That's right, only 5. Please make sure that when you have finished, you put away. So if you have had a book out, you put it back where you found it, and hopefully that is in the right place. Right, enjoy, have a lovely first week back at school. Bye!